Hey y'all, welcome back to Healing Puffs. I'm Zan, and today we're diving into a topic that's deeply personal and often challenging: sharing your identity with others. Whether you're part of the community or an ally, we all know that coming out is a path with its share of joy, fear, and those pivotal moments that shape our experience. In today's episode, I'm going to share my own coming out stories, the moments that shaped my journey, and the lessons I've learned along the way. From the nerve-wracking conversations to the unexpected support and the hurdles I faced, I'm excited to take you along with me through these experiences. This is Healing Puffs, and you're listening to Identity Disclosures. Let's get started. If you've already listened to episode 1, which if you haven't, you should, you kind of already got a mini backstory on me coming out to some friends, but in this episode, we will be discussing further on other friends and their reactions and how it all made me feel. At this time, I was living on my own while visiting my hometown often, and one of the first people I actually told was my then girlfriend that I was going on T and had changed my pronouns. I don't recall there being much of an external reaction, but I personally perceived some confusion. Like she was confused on what that meant for her, and for me, and for us. We were already kind of new to being gay, not even out together yet, so this definitely added an extra element of difficulty for the both of us. And not long after I started T, actually, we stopped talking, and that was due for multiple of reasons, but one of which I'm pretty sure was me starting T. This was when I started to spiral and questioned why it might be problematic, uncomfortable, or even embarrassing to handle. But then it also eventually allowed me the space and freedom to discover my true identity without putting such pressure on myself or suppressing it all or being scared to do so because of my feelings for another person. As I grew more comfortable with myself, I began to share my starting hormones with more people. Some of these people have known me for years, so obviously meaning pre-T. And for these friends, it was probably harder to process. And to be honest, I don't think most of them really did, because not long after I came out, I noticed I stopped talking to a lot of these people, or they stopped talking to me. And at this time, it definitely took a toll on me. I remember I felt incredibly isolated through an already challenging period. I really had no one to talk to about starting T, whether it was for similar experiences or just to simply rant about it. I longed for anyone to bother to listen or share my excitement or to help me out when I had a question, or to converse with the related struggles of being trans. And to be honest, sometimes in these situations, it was hard to tell if it was because I was trans or if it was just because it was life and we were just growing up. It was definitely both, but more so started because I came out as trans. I was honestly always hesitant and avoidant to the fact that I would have to tell my siblings and my parents that I was trans, and that I was starting T and changing my name and my pronouns. And for my siblings, it wasn't until the fact that I got really frustrated one day. Because of the cost of T that I was paying at the time, I made an appointment with Planned Parenthood. And this is actually when they found out. It was indeed not cheaper, but it was because I couldn't use my insurance that I had through my parents at the time because they would find out and they didn't know. So, yeah. I think my siblings just asked why I was at Planned Parenthood, and I just told them I was just there to see if I could get my T for cheaper. Because I was already on T for like 4 months, I think, but I was paying like crazy amount. And honestly, it was really casual. Even in a moment of frustration, it was relieving to have them be aware of it now. Like, I I desperately needed someone else to know about me, because it was hard, like, being in a space all the time where you're just constantly misgendered, where you don't have a chance to correct them. You know what I mean? They reacted very well and adjusted to my new pronouns quickly. They really, honestly, they just asked why the fuck it was being so expensive, and honestly, real, because same. But they have honestly always listened to me and asked what I've wanted or needed, have always corrected their friends or other family members as I've asked and with my permission. They've always been supportive. As for my parents, however, those are stubborn motherfuckers. Telling them was weird. I didn't even verbally say anything. I grabbed myself an It's a Boy card from the store and I wrote, "My name is Zan and I am non-binary slash trans and my pronouns are he, him. P.S. I am 6 months old," meaning I was 6 months on T. And I handed this card to my mother and immediately left the house with my brother, because I was terrified to be there in the room when she read this card. My sister had actually been on FaceTime with her while I left the house, so she was relaying my mother's reactions back to me through text. And I just got a text saying she's crying. I'm still a little confused by that, to be honest, to this day. And then she proceeded to ask, what does this mean? Is she going on hormones? Which immediately, hello. Rude. But yeah, like, did you even read the card? You know? Two things that I've mentioned that you didn't even, okay. Anyways, when I came back home, she just side hugged me, and I went upstairs because I don't do that. And she told my sister that she wanted to talk to me, and that scared me because I really didn't want to talk about it, especially as a family that doesn't talk about anything personal at all, ever. So, yeah. I forgot about how long after that, but definitely not the same day, maybe the same week, but I don't know. She came, knocked on the door, and sat next to me, and we had like probably a 30-minute, 40-minute conversation. It was mainly about her just being confused on me wanting to be called they, them. Or she put it, a, they, or a, them. It was an interesting conversation at that. She just asked me what she did that resulted in quote unquote this, and even agreed I hated the clothing that she put me in as a kid, but then denied how I felt about things that she's done or said, and which was also denied. So yeah, this conversation really had no point of actual understanding, and was a bunch of, hey, you did this and I felt this way about it, and just being responded with, yeah, that never happened, you're crazy. So obviously silence. We were just quiet, and I'm pretty sure there was more conversation involved, and I'm pretty sure I also recorded a little portion of it, but it was more so me speaking, and I kind of sounded a little angry because I was, but pretty sure it ended with her just being like, obviously I still love you, but it just might take a while to adjust, which I've always felt a certain way about, because why does it have to take a while, was my question at the time. I kind of get it now. I'm more understanding, but at the time, I was just eager for everyone to immediately understand. I didn't understand why it had to be a while, just because as long as you corrected yourself, even if you did momentarily forget, you're still actively trying. It's not taking a while to try. You know what I mean? But she kind of never did. Like, it felt purposely done at one point. I could always feel her embarrassment or uncomfortableness whenever she needed to address me or when people asked if I was her son. And it wasn't actually until my cousin from North Carolina came and she finally listened to someone else and started using the right pronouns. My cousin had previously asked me privately if I'd like to be called by a different name and use different pronouns, which I've always appreciated, and I told him a little bit of the story that I'm sharing now, and along with a big argument that I shared with my mother that I might share here eventually. But yeah, he apparently had a conversation with my mom after this conversation I had with him, and honestly, I don't know what was said till this day, but after that, she was calling me by my he, him pronouns. So, and would say yes with a little more ease when asked if I was her son. And as of today, I'm still attempting to get her to use Zan, and I still hold a little anger as nothing was ever addressed or apologized for. But honestly, all that I ask for now is that you use the name that I own, which I don't find to be an unreasonable request. My siblings have always been good at receiving what I tell them and trying their best, and my new friends today are the first ones to have ever called me by my name, Zan. They've helped me feel more comfortable using it and claiming it as mine. And hopefully one day there's an update on being called Zan by my mother and other family members. And that's all for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in to Healing Puffs. I hope you enjoyed this one and found something meaningful or educational. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more personal stories, self-growth insights, and genuine honest cannabis reviews. Feel free to drop your thoughts and your questions in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok for more behind the scenes and updates. I'll leave the links for those in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.